friends of musical theater productions. I'm Karis Thomas, and I'm here to introduce this encore presentation of Musical Theater Productions' 2009 version of The Gondoliers. Now, during this time of pandemic and lockdown, Musical Theater Productions has been doing everything possible to keep you engaged and stay with you and keep musical theater alive in our hearts and minds. We all know that coming together is something we want to do, and we will do that in the future. If there's any way that you would like to help out and keep theater alive and keep it going in our community, please go to Musical Theater Productions website and find out how you can donate your time, your efforts, any spare funds you might have, and be ready to be in the audience when we are able to come back to the stage. Now I'd like to tell you about the 2009 production of The Gondoliers. 11 years ago, Shannon Winkler asked me if I would like to direct any Gilbert and Sullivan, and if so, which one? Well, I immediately responded, The Gondoliers. I'd had the great pleasure of playing one of the roles of Tessa in a production in Toronto, and it held a very special place in my heart. So we moved forward and we took this production in a fun and different kind of angle. We set it in the 50s so that we could take advantage of some great set design, wonderful costumes, and possibly a few dance moves here and there. It might have been a little different and unique for our London audience at the time, because I know they were a little perplexed when it first started, but they definitely got into the groove once the music started rolling. This was my first big production directing and choreographing for Musical Theater Productions. It was also my first introduction working with Joe Risha, No Joe No Show, and several other fabulous people in the London musical theater scene. I had a thrill of a time working with Carrie Silver as my producer and finding all the wonderful costumes for us, and working with the amazing musical direction team and the phenomenal cast who came out. We laughed, we played, and we danced our cotton socks off. Back in 2009, we also had a bit of a medical scare that went through the entire community. At that point, it was the swine flu. And we did have a few of our cast members who were struck down with the illness. Sadly, it was right before the production opened. A few of our actors did have to miss the first weekend of performance. They just could not stand up and have the energy to perform. One of them was one of our leading ladies, so I had the lucky opportunity to step into her shoes and try to fill that role. Fortunately for you, this recording was made in the second weekend of the run when she was healthy again and able to return to her role. So without further ado, please, I hope you enjoy this 1950s styled rendition of The Gondoliers.
fight on the hairy, the train as we fly. For guarantee noted since we were so potent to beauty devoted our Marco and I. When morning is breaking, our couches will sinking to grief and awaking with candles we call the summer's eluding and living and rolling up. When daylight is fading, the night shading, it's so serenading, we sing them to sleep. Serenading, we sing them to sleep. Gondolieri, tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la, gondolieri, tra-la-la-la-la, we really do not care a preference to declare. A bias to disclose would be indelicate. And therefore we propose to let impartial fate select for us a mate.
A bias to disclose would be indelicate.
But how do they propose to let impartial fate select for them a mate? These handkerchiefs upon our eyes be good enough to buy.
And take good care that both of us are absolutely blind.
Then turn us round and we with all convenient dispatch will undertake to marry any two of you we catch.
We will undertake to marry any two of us they catch. As you see me,
Dark and weeping, dark and dreamy.
if you find it, truly say so.
All right-minded players play so.
Conduct shady, they are cheating, surely they deserve a beating. It's too much of sin, smoking comics such as truly shocking. You can stop and shut your eyes, and you can stop and shut your eyes, and you may hear a riot lesson. You can see some discovery, you can see some discovery, he keeps 3 horses, black and white and dark will preserve. Turn 3 times and take your courses. Catch with
see again. They will never, 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 never see again. Neither that grandee from the Spanish shore, the noble Duke of Plazator,
I would prefer to ride the streets of Venice. But owing to what I presume to be an unusually wet season, the streets are in such a condition that it makes equestrian exercise impracticable. Oh, no matter. Where is our suite?
Your Grace, I am here.
Why do you not do yourself the honor to kneel when you address His Grace?
Oh, my love, such a small matter. Still, you might as well do it.
The young man seems to entertain but an imperfect appreciation of the respect due from a menial to a Castilian hidalgo.
My child, you are hard upon our suite.
Papa, I've no patience with the presumption of persons in his plebeian position. If he does not appreciate that position, let him be whipped until he does.
Well, let us hope his omission was not intended as a slight. If it were, I would be much hurt by it. So would he. Where are the halberdiers who are to have had the honor of greeting us, so that our visit to the Grand Inquisitor could be made in a becoming state?
Your Grace, the halberdiers are mercenary people who stipulated for trifle on account.
Oh, how tiresome! Well, let us hope the Grand Inquisitor is a blind gentleman. And the band? The band who are to have had the honor of escorting us? I see no band.
Your Grace, the band are sordid persons who require to be paid in advance.
That's so like a band.
Insuperable difficulties meeting at every turn.
But surely they know His Grace.
Exactly. They know His Grace.
Well, let us hope the Grand Inquisitor is a deaf gentleman. Oh, a cornet à piston would be something. Oh, you do not happen to possess the talent of doodling like a cornet à piston?
Alas, no, Your Grace. But I can imitate farmyard.
Well, I don't see how that would help us. I don't see how you could bring it in.
It would not help us in the least. We are not a parcel of graziers come to market. Don't.
My child, our sweet feelings. Oh, be so good as to ring the bell and inform His Majesty's distinction that His Grace, the Duke of Plazator, Count Matadoro, Baron Pic-Adoro,
And sweet.
have arrived and seek,
Desire.
Demand.
and demand an audience.
Your Grace has but to command.
Oh, I felt sure of it. And now, my love, shall we tell her? Oh, I think so. And now, my love, prepare yourself for a magnificent surprise. It is my agreeable duty to share with you a secret to which should make you the happiest young lady in Venice.
A secret.
A secret which, for estate reasons, it has been necessary to preserve for 20 years.
When you were a prattling babe of 6 months old, you were married by proxy to no less a personage than the infant son and heir to His Majesty, the immeasurably wealthy King of Barataria.
Married to the infant son of the King of Barataria? Was I consulted? Then it was the most unpardonable liberty.
Oh, well, consider his extreme youth and forgive him. Shortly after the ceremony, that misguided monarch abandoned the creed of his forefathers and became Wesleyan Methodist. the most bigoted and persecuting type. Well, the Grand Inquisitor determined that this innovation should not be perpetuated in Barataria, causing your smiling and unconscious husband to be stolen and conveyed here to Venice. A fortnight since, the Methodist monarch and all that Wesley and court were killed in an insurrection. And we have arrived here to ascertain the whereabouts of your husband and hail you, our daughter, as Her Majesty, the reigning queen of Barataria. It is at moments such as these that one feels how necessary it is to travel with a full bag.
The Queen of Barataria? But I've nothing to wear. We're practically penniless.
That point has not escaped me. Although I am at straitened circumstances at present, my social influence is something enormous. A company to be called the Duke of Plaza Toro Limited is in course of formation. An influential director has been secured, and I shall join the board myself after allotment.
Am I to understand that the Queen of Barataria may be called upon at any time to witness her honored sire in process of liquidation?
The prospect is not exempt from that drawback. If your father should stop, it will of course be necessary to wind him up.
But it's so undignified, it's so degrading. A grandee of Spain turned into a public company. Such a thing was never heard of.
My child, that Duke of Plaza Toro doesn't follow fashion. He leads them. He leads everybody. When he was in the army, he led his regiment. Occasionally, he led them into action. Invariably, he led them out of it. The enterprise of martial kind, if there was any fighting, he led his regiment from behind. He found it less exciting. But when away that regiment ran, his place was at Boro, that celebrated, cultivated, underrated nobleman, the Duke of Plaza Toro.
In the first and foremost place, he always found that man and celebrated the underrated nobleman, the Duke of Plaza Toro.
When to evade destruction's hand to hide, they all proceeded. No soldier in that gallant band hid half as well as he did. He laid concealed throughout the war and so preserved his Moro. That unaffected, undetected, well-connected warrior, the Duke of Plaza Toro.
He never tilted game off, he always took the game off. The Duke of Plaza Toro.
When told that they would all be shot, as they left their service, the hero hesitated, not so marvelous his nervous. He sent his resignation in the first of all his Moro. That very knowing, overflowing, easygoing paladin, the Duke of Plaza Toro.
He never was a game off, he always took the game off.
Nothing, I trust, that you will ever have reason to repent.
Nay, Louise, it may not be. I have embraced you for the last time.
Casilda!
I have just learned to my surprise and indignation that I was married in babyhood to the infant son of the King of Barataria.
The infant son of the King of Barataria? The child who was stolen in infancy by the Inquisition?
The same. But of course, you know his story.
Know his story? Why, I have often told you that my mother was the nurse to whose charge he was entrusted.
True. I had forgotten. Well, he has been discovered, and my father has brought me here to claim his hand.
But you will not recognize this marriage, for it happened when you were too young to understand its import.
Nay, Louise, respect my principles and cease to torture me with vain entreaties. Henceforth, my life is another's.
But stay! The present and the future, they are another's. But the past, at least that is ours, and none can take it from us. As we may revel in naught else, let us at least revel in that.
I don't think I grasp your meaning.
Yet it is logical enough. You say you ceased to love me?
I say I may not love you.
Ah, but you do not say you did not love me.
I loved you with a frenzy that words are powerless to express. And that but 10 brief minutes since.
Exactly. My own, that is until 10 minutes since my own, my lately loved, my recently adored. Tell me that until, say, a quarter of an hour ago, I was all in all to thee.
I see your idea. It's ingenious. But don't do that.
There can be no harm in reveling in the past.
None whatever. But an embrace cannot be taken to act retrospectively.
Perhaps not.
We may recollect an embrace. I recollect many. But we must not repeat them.
Then let's recollect a few. Ah, Casilda, you were to me as the sun is to the earth.
A quarter of an hour ago.
How about that?
And to think that but for this miserable discovery, you would have been my own for life.
Through life and death. A quarter of an hour ago.
How greedily my thirsty ears would have drunk the golden melody of those sweet words a quarter. Well, it's now about 20 minutes since.
How about that? In such a matter, one cannot be too precise.
And now our love, so full of life, is but a silent, solemn memory.
Must it be so, Casilda?
Louise, it must be so.
There was a time forever gone. Oh, woe is me. It was no crime to love but thee alone. Oh, woe is me. One
Expedition who so thoughtfully brought your husband here to Venice.
So, this is the little lady who is so unexpectedly called upon to assume the functions of royalty. And a very nice little lady, too.
Jim, isn't she?
Distinctly Jim. Allow me. Not temper.
Oh, you must make some allowance. Her Majesty's head is a little turned when she isn't access to dignity.
I could have asked when Her Majesty's access to dignity had turned it in this direction.
Unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken, there appears to be some little doubt as to His Majesty's whereabouts.
A doubt as to his whereabouts? Then we may yet be saved.
A doubt? Oh, no. No doubt at all. He's here in Venice, playing the modest but picturesque calling of a gondolier. I can give you his address. I see him every day. In the entire annals of our history, there is absolutely no circumstance so entirely free from all manner of doubt of any kind whatever. Listen, and I'll tell you all about him. I stole the babe and I brought him here and left him gaily prattling with a highly respectable gondolier who promised the royal babe to rear and teach him the trade of a time and year with his own beloved prattling. Oh, the babes are strong and stout, considering all things clever, but that there is no manner of doubt, no probable possible shadow of doubt, no possible doubt whatever.
No possible doubt whatever.
But owing I'm much disposed to fear to a terrible taste for tippling, that highly respectable gondolier could never decide with a mind sincere which of the babes was his offspring dear, and which the royal stripling. Which was which he could never make out, despite his best endeavor. Of that there is no manner of doubt, no probable possible shadow of doubt, no possible doubt whatever.
No possible doubt whatever.
Time sped, and when at the end of the year I sought that infant cherished, that highly respectable gondolier was lying a corpse on his humble bier. I brought the grand inquisitor steer. That gondolier had perished. A taste for drink combined with gout had doubled him up forever. Of that there is no manner of doubt, no probable possible shadow of doubt, no possible doubt whatever.
No possible doubt whatever.
His children followed his old career, the statement can't be buried, of a highly respectable gondolier, but one of the two will soon be here. But which of the two is not quite clear? Is the royal prince you marry? Search in and out and round about, and you'll discover never a tale so free from every doubt, no possible shadow of doubt, or possible doubt whatever.
A tale so free from every doubt, no probable possible shadow of doubt, no possible doubt whatever.
Without any kind of doubt of any sort whatever. But, be reassured, the nurse to whom your husband was entrusted is the mother of the musical young man who is such a past master of that delicately modulated instrument. She can, no doubt, establish the king's identity beyond all question.
Heavens, how did he know that?
My young friend, a grand inquisitor, is always up to date. His mother is, at present, the wife of a highly respectable and old-established brigand who carries on an extensive practice in the mountains around Cordova. Accompanied by two of my emissaries, he will set off at once for his mother's address. She will return with them, and if she finds any difficulty making up her mind, the persuasive influence of the torture chamber will jog her memory. Unseemly wrangle. Such complications frequently occur. Life is one closely complicated tangle. Death is the only true unraveler.
Try we right from we can never straighten out life's tangled state. Why should we pain endeavor, guess and guess and guess again?
Life's a pudding full of plums.
There's a kingdom that can run
What is a bachelor? A mere nothing. He's a chrysalis. He can't be said to live. He exists.
What a delightful institution marriage is. Why have we waited all this time? Why didn't we marry 10 years ago?
Because you couldn't find anybody nice enough. Because you were waiting for us.
I suppose that was the reason. We were waiting for you without knowing it. Hello?
Good morning.
If this gentleman's an undertaker, it's a bad omen.
Ceremony of some sort going on?
He is an undertaker. No, just a friendly little family gathering. Nothing in your line.
Somebody's birthday, I suppose.
Yes, mine and mine.
And mine.
And mine.
Curious coincidence. And how old may you all be?
That's a rather rude question. About 10 minutes.
Remarkably fine children, but surely you're jesting.
What we mean to say is we were married 10 minutes since.
Married? You don't mean to say you're married?
Oh, yes, we are married.
What, both of you?
All 4 of us.
Oh dear me, how extremely awkward.
You don't mind, I suppose. You weren't thinking of one us for yourself, I presume. Oh, Giuseppe, look at him. He was. Oh, he's heartbroken.
Oh, no, I wasn't.
Now, my man, we don't want anything in your line. And if your curiosity's satisfied, you can go.
You mustn't call me your man. It's a liberty. I don't think you know who I am.
Well, not we indeed. We are jolly gondoliers, the sons of Battisto Palmieri, who led the last revolution. Viva! Republicans, heart and soul, we hold all men to be equal. As we abhor oppression, we abhor kings. As we detest vainglory, we detest rank. As we despise effeminacy, we despise wealth. We are Venetian gondoliers, your equals in everything except our calling, and in that, at once your masters and your servants.
Bless my heart, how unfortunate. One of you may be Battisto's son, for anything I know to the contrary, but the other is no less a personage than the only son of the late king of Barataria.
What?
And I trust it was that one who slapped me on the shoulder and called me his man.
One of us
Well, which is it?
What does it matter? As you are both Republicans and hold kings in detestation, of course you'll abdicate at once. Good evening.
Well, as to that, there are kings and kings. When I say I detest kings, I mean I detest bad kings.
I see. It's a delicate distinction.
Quite so. Now I can conceive of a kind of king, an ideal king, a creature of my fancy, you know, who would be completely unobjectionable. A king who would abolish taxes and make everything cheap except gondolas.
Oh, and spend money on a great many entertainments for the gondoliers.
Oh, and let off fireworks, the Grand Canal, and engage all the gondolas for the occasion.
Oh, and scramble money on the Rialto for the
Oh,
gondoliers.
such a king would be a blessing to his people, and if I were king, that's the sort of king I would be.
And so would I.
Come, I'm glad to find that your objections are not insuperable.
Oh, they're not insuperable.
No, they're not insuperable.
Besides, we're open to conviction.
Yes, they are open to conviction. Oh, they've often been convicted.
Our views may have been hastily formed on erroneous grounds. They may be crude, ill-digested. I have a very poor opinion of the politician who isn't open to conviction.
Oh, he's a fine fellow. Yes, now that's the sort of politician for my money.
Then we'll consider it settled. Now, as the country is in a state of insurrection, it is absolutely necessary that you should assume the reins of government at once. And until it is ascertained which of you is to be king, I have arranged that you will reign jointly, so that no question may arise hereafter as to the validity of any of your acts.
As one individual.
As one individual.
Like this.
Something like that.
And we may bear friends with us and provide the places about the court.
Oh, undoubtedly, that's always done.
Well, I'm convinced.
So am I.
Then the sooner we're off, the better. We'll just go home and pack up a few things.
Stop! That won't do at all. Ladies are not admitted.
What?
Not admitted. Not at present. Afterwards, perhaps, we'll see.
Well, you don't mean to say you want us to be separated from our wives.
Oh dear, this is very awkward. Only for a time, a few months perhaps, after all. What's a few months?
But we've only been married half an hour!
my sister I were torn, it could be born. I should no doubt be horrified, but I could believe. Another thing, he is my king, he has my heart and mind. Beside shall never share it. You men can never understand my good heart is warm with woman's hand.
Greatness uncalled for grief, your separation will be very brief. To ascertain which is the king and which the other, together carries what the ring is lost of mother. A former nursling to declare she'll be delighted. That settled, let each happy pair be united.
Viva! His heart will be strong. Viva! Will not be parted long. Viva! It will be settled soon. Viva! It gets our honeymoon. Viva! Viva! Viva!
They wanna live to be a queen, with a golden crown, with a crown instead of a hat on her head and diamonds all alone. With a beautiful gown of gold and green, I've always understood. I wonder whether she'd wear a feather. I rather think she should.
Oh, 'tis a glorious thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. No half and half affair, I mean no half and half affair, but like a regular royal queen.
She'll drive about in the carriage and pair with the king on her left hand side, and a milk white horse is matched with course whenever she wants to ride. With beautiful legs of silver, shoes on her dainty feet, and endless stocks of beautiful frocks. And as much as she wants to eat,
Oh, 'tis a glorious thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. No half and half affair, I mean no half and half affair, but like a regular royal queen.
Whenever she condescends to walk, be sure she'll shine at that. And her heart is steady, names and air, well balanced and right. And elegant fine society talk, she'll bear away the girl with her. How do you do? And her, how are you? I trust I see you well.
Oh, 'tis a glorious thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. No half and half affair, I mean no half and half affair, but like a regular royal queen. And noble lords will scrape and bow and couple themselves in two, and open their eyes and ranks and cries whatever she likes to do. And everybody will roundly bow, she's fair as flowers in May, and say how clever at whatsoever she condescends to say. Oh, 'tis a glorious thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. No half and half affair, I mean no half and half affair, but like a regular royal queen. Oh, 'tis a glorious thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. Right, now, regular royal palaces
is but your
Fine direct.
Spat your
American.
fallacies, your
Fine direct.
Spat your
American.
fallacies.
I say no, we object to pavilions and palaces. How can they respect our Republican fallacies?
For everyone who feels inclined to oppose, we undertake to find congenial in his frame of mind, and all shall equal be.
The Chancellor and his Baruch, the Earl, the Marquis, and the Duke, the Butler, and the Cook, they all shall equal be.
The aristocrat who pipes and cools, the aristocrat who hunts and shoots, the aristocrat who scrubs our boots, they all shall equal be.
The noble lord who rules the state, the noble lord who cleans the plates,
The noble lord who scrubs the game, they all shall equal be.
Lord, I wish you off the knot, Lord, I coach you on the box.
The sword that anyone in the stars, they all shall equal be.
For everyone who feels inclined to oppose, we undertake to find congenial in his frame of mind, congenial in his frame of mind, and all shall equal be. Sing high, sing low, wherever they go. Sing high, sing low, wherever they go. Wherever they go, wherever they go, they all shall equal be. Sing high, sing low, wherever they go. Sing high, sing low, wherever they go. Wherever they go, wherever they go, they all shall equal be.
The Earl, the Marquis, and the Duke, the Earl, the Butler, and the Cook, the aristocrat, the aristocrat,
That's away, our island crown awaits me. Conflicting feelings rend my soul apart. The thought of royal dignity elates me, but leaving thee behind me breaks my heart.
Farewell, my love, on board you must be getting. But while upon the sea you gave me home, remember that our hearts for thee is fretting. The tender little heart you left
We go, no fair, we don't touch fair.
expressions of satisfaction and good feeling.
We heard you.
We are delighted, at any rate, to fall in line with sentiments so charmingly expressed.
That's all right. But at the same time, there's just one little grievance we should like to ventilate.
What?
Don't be alarmed, it's not serious. It is arranged that until it is decided which of us two is the actual king, we are to act as one person.
Exactly.
But although we act as one person, we are in point of fact two persons.
I don't think we can get into that.
It is a legal fiction, and legal fictions are a solemn thing. Situated as we are, we cannot recognize two independent responsibilities.
No, but you can recognize two independent appetites. It's all very well to say that we act as one individual, but when you supply us with only one ration between us, I should call it a legal fiction carried a little too far.
It's rather a nice point.
I don't like to express an opinion offhand. Suppose we reserve it for argument before the full court.
But what are we to do in the meantime?
We want our tea!
I suppose that we may make an interim order for double rations, on their majesties entering into the usual energy to indemnify in the event of an adverse decision.
That I think will be the case, but you must work hard. Stick to it. Nothing like hard work.
Oh, we quite understand that the man who holds the magnificent position of king must do something to justify it. We're called your majesty. We're allowed to buy ourselves magnificent clothes. Our subjects frequently wave to us in the streets. Our sentries always return our salutes. And we hold the inestimable privilege of performing with the NAC Orchestra at charity events.
I get by with a little help from my friends.
In return for these advantages, it's only fair that we should make ourselves useful about the palace.
Rising early in the morning, we proceed to light the fire. Then our majesty adorning, we embark upon the fire. We embark without delay on the duties of the day. First we polish off some batches of political dispatches and foreign politicians circumvent. Then if business isn't heavy, we may hold a royal levy or ratify some acts of parliament. Then we usually review the household troops with the normal shallow-hoops and shallow-hoops, or receiving ceremonial and state. Interesting Easter mood. After that we generally go and dress our private rally. It's a rather nervous duty, he's a touchy little man. Write some letters literary for our private secretary. He's a shaky in his spelling, so we help him if we can. Then in view of craving dinner, we go down and order dinner, or we polish the regalia and the coronation plate. Spend an hour in titivating all our gentlemen in waiting, or we run on little errands for the ministers of state. Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of a king, but the duties are delightful and the privilege is great. But the privilege and pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is to run on little errands for the ministers of state. Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of a king, but the duties are delightful and the privilege is great. And the privilege and pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is to run a little errand for the ministers of state. After luncheon making merry on a bun and glass of sherry, if we've nothing in particular to do, we may make a proclamation or receive a deputation, or we possibly create a peer or two. Then we endorse the latest film by Michael Moore. All the many find his bias makes them sore, or receive with ceremonial and state to a festival, a function, or a fete. Then we go and fight recession while maintaining our aggression. It's the capitalist Senate who's afraid of our reform, or we put money on the taxpayers' money to the banks and foolish companies as they need money for reform. Then the CEOs take a bonus, which we tend to find quite onerous, but we'll take our Nobel Peace Prize for the promises we've made. Spend an hour in titivating all our gentlemen in waiting, or we run up little errands for the ministers of state. Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of a king, but the pleasures are many, and of worries there are none. And the culminating pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is the gratifying feeling when our duties have been done. Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of a king, but the pleasure
do that. And they're so singularly kind and considerate.
Yes, it is a delightful existence. Oh, there's only one thing we're missing now.
And that is?
Those dear little wives we left behind us 3 months ago.
Oh, yes, life is dull without female society. We can do without anything else, but we can't do without that.
Indeed, and we've that in perfection? No, we have everything. There's only one recipe for perfect happiness. Take a pair of sparkling eyes, hidden never and anon in a merciful eclipse. Do not heed their mild surprise, having passed the Rubicon. Take a pair of rosy lips. Take a figure triply planned, such as admiration wears. In particular in this, take a pretty little hand, fringed with dainty fingerlets. Press it, in parenthesis. Take of these, you lucky man. Take and keep them if you can. If you can, take all these, you lucky man. Take and keep them if you can. If you can. Take a pretty little cord, quite a miniature affair, hung about with trellis vine. Furnish it upon the spot with those treasures rich and rare I've endeavored to define. Live to love and love to live, you will ripen at your ease, growing on the side by side. Fate has nothing more to give, you're a dainty man to please. If you're not satisfied, take my counsel, happy man, act upon it if you can. If you can, take
of our honeymoon. Gentlemen, will you allow us to give you a magnificent banquet?
We will!
Thanks very much. And ladies, what do you say to a dance?
A banquet and a dance. Oh, this is true, my happiness.
Hey! No, not exactly. A little friendly dance, that's all. Sorry you're late.
Well, I saw a groom dancing in a footwood.
Yes, that's the Lord High Footman. Yeah.
And, dear me, a common little drummer boy.
Oh, no, that's the Lord High drummer boy.
But surely the servants' hall is the place for these gentry.
Oh, no. We've appropriated the servants' hall. It's now the royal apartments, and a table with tickets only accessible at the Lord Chamberlain's office.
We really must have some place we can call our own, after all.
I'm afraid I'm not quite equal to the intellectual pressure of the conversation.
We've remodeled the monarchy on Republican principles.
Viva! What?
Everyone is at the head of their department, and all departments rank equally. Viva!
I see.
I'm afraid you're annoyed.
No, I won't say that. It's not quite what I expected. You see, in every court there are distinctions that must be observed.
There are there?
Why, of course. For instance, you wouldn't have a Lord High Chancellor play leapfrog with his own cook.
And why not? Giuseppe, let's show the man.
Why not? Because a Lord High Chancellor is a personage of great dignity, who should never, under any circumstances, place himself in the position of being told to tuck in his tuppenny, except by noblemen of his own rank. For instance, a Lord High Archbishop might tell a Lord High Chancellor to tuck in his tuppenny. Certainly not cook, gentlemen. Certainly not cook.
Not even a Lord High Cook?
My good friend, that is a rank that is not recognized at the Lord Chamberlain's office. No, it won't do. Here, I'll give you an instance in which the experiment was tried. There lived a king, as I've been told, in the wonder-working days of old, when hearts were twice as good as gold, and 20 times as narrow. Good king for triumph in his face, and in his heart he found a place for all the erring human race, and every wretched fellow. When he had Rhenish wine to drink, it made him very sad to think that some had drunken orgy must be content with toddy.
With toddy must be content with toddy.
He wished all men as rich as he, and he was rich as rich could be. So to the top of every tree, and low to everybody.
Now that's the sign of king for me. He wished all men as rich as he. So to the top of every tree, from low to everybody.
Lord Chancellors were cheap as brats, and bishops in their shovel hats were plentiful as taffy cats, and the back to men. Ambassadors from the London prime ministers and such as they who like asparagus in May, and dukes were free a penny on every side. Could marshes who called Pirologs left Venice clean, with admirals the oceans clean all round his wide dominion.
With admirals all round his wide dominions.
And party leaders you might meet in twos and threes in every street, maintaining with no little need their various opinions.
Now that's a sight you couldn't beat. Two party leaders in each street, maintaining with no little heat their various opinions.
His king, although no one denies, his heart was of abnormal size, yet he have acted otherwise. He had been a Buddha, being in disease, a leave or hope, with every blessed day you hold. His made silver or of gold, you long for simple Buddha, when you have nothing else to wear but cloth of gold and sad to tread. The cloth of gold you cease to care, but knows the price of shoddy.
Of shoddy, up goes the price of shoddy.
In short, whomever you may be, this conclusion you'll agree. When everyone is somebody, then no one's anybody.
Now that's as plain can be. To this conclusion we agree. When everyone is somebody, then no one's anybody.
Now I have some important news to communicate. His Grace, the Duke of Toro, her Duchess, Her Grace the Duchess, and their beautiful daughter, Casilda. I say, their beautiful daughter, Casilda.
We heard you.
Have arrived in Barataria, and may be here at any moment.
The Duke and Duchess are nothing to us.
But the daughter, the beautiful daughter? Oh, you're a lucky dog, one of you.
I think you're a very incomprehensible old gentleman.
Not a bit. I'll explain. Many years ago, when you, whichever you are, were a baby, you, whichever you are, were married to a little girl who's grown up to be the most beautiful young lady in Spain. That beautiful young lady is coming to claim you, whichever you are, in half an hour. And I congratulate that one, whichever it is, with all my heart.
Married when a baby?
But we were married 3 months ago.
One of you. Only one. The other, whichever it is an unintentional bigamist.
Well, upon my word!
Who are these young people?
Who are we? We're their wives, of course. We've just arrived.
Their wives? Oh, dear me, this is most unfortunate. Dear, dear, this complicates matters. Oh, dear, dear, what will Her Majesty say?
And do you mean to say that one of these two monarchs was already married?
And that neither of us will be a queen?
That is the idea I intended to convey,
My dear, dear child.
Oh, get away! Perhaps it's you!
My poor little woman.
Who knows whose husband you are?
And you! Why didn't you tell us all about it before they left Venice?
Because if I had, no earthly temptation would have induced these gentlemen to leave two such extremely fascinating and utterly irresistible little ladies.
Well, there's something in that.
It may interest you to know that you will not be kept long in suspense, as the old lady who nursed the royal child is at present in the best western Barataria, waiting for me to interview her.
Hadn't you better put the old lady out of her suspense?
Oh, no, not to worry. There's no hurry. She has one of those new televisions in her room. But I will go in to interrogate her, and in the meantime, might I suggest the absolute propriety of your regarding yourselves as single young ladies. Good evening.
But here's a pleasant state of things.
Delightful. One of us is married to two young ladies, nobody knows which, and the other of us is married to one young lady who nobody can identify.
One of us is married to one of you, and the other is married to nobody.
But which of us is married to which of you? And what's to happen to the other?
I think I got it. Observe. Two husbands have managed to acquire 3 wives. 2 husbands, 3 wives. That's two-thirds of a husband per wife.
Jeepers creepers, here we are in arithmetic! My good sir, one cannot marry a vulgar fraction.
You've no right to call me a vulgar fraction.
Come and sit now.
Well, I didn't even know you were going to be here. I mean, it took 3 months, and they didn't even know. Well, the darn thing, who said that you were supposed to... I didn't know I was married.
I'm getting a little mixed. This situation is entangled. Let's try to comb it out.
In a contemplative fashion and a tranquil frame of mind, free from every kind of passion, some solution let us find. Let us grasp the situation, solve the complicated plot. Quiet, calm deliberation disentangles every knot.
I no doubt you said you wedded that, of course, a slice of luck. He's rather dunderheaded, still distinctly he's a duck.
You think to tell of Cupid what goes hearing at his feet. He's particularly stupid, still distinctly is a dear.
To Janetta I was mated, I can prove it in a right. Though her charms are overrated, still I own she's rather nice.
I to Tessa willy-nilly, all at once a victim fell. She is what is called a silly till she answers pretty well. She's a silly till she answers pretty well.
Well, when we were pretty babies, someone married us, that's clear.
And keep like a catcher, will picture and scratcher and send her away with a thievery.
That young lady Mary to receive her can't refuse.
I went to the rude, Jason, shaking her wrist.
See Mary George to he will keep with love to good.
If I could do what I want to do, not to marry the man of my heart. If she married Mr. Marshall, you're a spinster.
If I can get
tangles every knot.
I was was the only thing required for the maker's get me something. More than required, more to sit and make it happen. And I really when from him I merely parted, we were nearly broken hearted. When it seemed when we united, we were equally delighted. We were equally delighted. So we took the shot, the guns and bullets, we were marvelous. We were insignificant progenitors. We took the shot, the guns and bullets, nearly
My only hope is that when my husband sees what a shady family he has married into, he'll repudiate the contract altogether.
Shady? A nobleman shady who's blazing in the luster of unaccustomed pocket money? A nobleman shady who has 95 quarterings? Oh, it is not every nobleman who can say he's 95 quarters in arrears. I mean, can look back upon 95 of them. Oh, this, just as I've been floated at a premium. Oh, fine.
Your Majesty is surely unaware that directly Your Majesty's father came before the public, he was applied for it over and over again.
Oh, my love. Her Majesty's father was in the habit of being applied for over and over again, and very urgently applied for too. Long before he registered under the Limited Liability Act. To have unhappy commoners and add to their enjoyment allows a man of noble rank congenial employment. Of our attention offer you examples illustrative. The work is light, and might I add, it's most remunerative. Small titles and orders of mayors and recorders I get, and they're highly delighted.
They're highly delighted.
MPs baroneted, sham colonels gazetted, and second-rate aldermen knighted.
Yes, aldermen knighted.
Foundation so laid, I find very pain. It adds a large sum to my making.
Large sum to his makings.
At charity dinners, the best of speech spinners, I get 10% on the taking.
1/10 of the takings. I present any lady who's hard up and shady and talking of doubtful propriety.
Doubtful propriety.
Virtue of washer and taking my washer and watcher and first-rate society.
First-rate society?
I recommend makers of clumsiness makers their finishing touches.
Those finishing touches.
I summon and discern the take for the mission to say that they make for the Duchess.
They make for the Duchess. Those pressing prevailers, those brand-new tailors, quote me as the great double barrel.
The great double barrel.
I allow them to do so, though Robinson Crusoe would gibber their wearing apparel.
Such wearing apparel.
I sit by selection upon the direction of several companies' bubble.
All companies bubble.
As soon as they're floated, I'm clearly banknoted. I'm pretty well paid for my trouble.
He's paid for his trouble. At middle-class party, I pay every county, and I'm by no means a beginner.
She's not a beginner.
One of my station, a red on a race on 5 guineas a night, and my dinner.
And wine with her dinner?
My wife that is painted, your Maris is painted, and moves any hour you mustn't.
Believe me, you mustn't.
And now I confess you're in the eyes of affection from somebody so much it doesn't.
It certainly doesn't. We're ready as witness to anyone's fitness to fill any place of preferment.
A place of preferment. We're often in waiting, a junket of waiting, and sometimes attend an interment.
We enjoy an interment.
In short, when you think of the sparkles, swindlers, simpletons, into your clutches, you sink to your clutches. Or could we do better? You cannot do better than trot on did you for a Duchess.
Aren't you?
For a Duchess.
lady one of us married.
Gentlemen, I am most obedient servant of one of you. Oh, Louise.
I am now about to address the gentleman to whom my daughter married. The other may allow his attention to wander, for what I'm about to say does not concern him. Sir, in this young lady you will find a combination of excellences which you will search for in vain in any young lady who did not have the good fortune to be my daughter. There is still some little doubt as to which of you is the gentleman I'm addressing and which is allowing his attention to wander, but when that doubt is solved, I shall say, still addressing the attentive gentleman, take her, and may she make you happier than her mother has made me.
Sir?
Oh, impossible, impossible. And now, there is a little matter to which I feel I'm entitled to take exception. I come here in state with her grace, the Duchess, and her Majesty, my daughter. And what do I find? Do I find, for instance, a guard of honor to receive me? No.
No.
A town illuminated? No.
No.
Refreshment provided? No.
No.
A royal salute fired? No.
No.
Triumphal arches erected?
No.
A bell set ringing?
No.
No?
Yes, one, the visitors, and I rang it myself. Oh, it's not enough. It's not enough.
I am sorry, but I was raised on a gondola, and my ideas of politeness are limited to taking off my cap when my patrons tip me.
That's all very well in its way, but it is not enough.
I'll take off anything else in reason.
No, a royal salute to my daughter. It costs so little.
Papa, I didn't want to salute.
Oh, sir, when we are clear as to who is entitled to take that liberty, she shall have as many salutes as she likes.
Yes. And as for triumphal arches and guards of honor, you don't know our people. They wouldn't stand it.
They're very offhand with us. Very offhand indeed.
Oh, you mustn't allow it. You must impress your court with your importance. You need to show them deportment, carriage.
We've got carriage!
Manner, dignity. Oh, there must be a great deal of this sort of thing, and a little bit of that sort of thing, and just a soupçon of this sort of thing, and so on. Oh, it's most effective and very useful. Attend to me. You are a king. I am a subject. Very good. I am a courtier, grave and serious, who is about to kiss your hand. Try to combine a pose imperious with a demeanor nobly planned.
Now to combine a pose imperious with a demeanor nobly planned.
That's if anything too unbending, too aggressively stiff and grand. Now to the other extreme, you're tending, don't be so deucedly condescending.
Now to the other extreme, you're tending, don't be so gracefully condescending.
Want to please a nobleman's sake, first if anything too unbending, off we go to the other extreme, too confoundedly condescending.
Now Agavat reform sedately, offer your hand with conscious pride. Take an attitude not too stately, still sufficiently dignified.
Now for an attitude not too stately, still sufficiently dignified.
Oncely, twicely, oncely, twicely, there you lie. Capital both, you've caught on nicely. That is the style of things precisely.
Capital, capital, that is the style of
tell the young girl how we're situated. It doesn't seem fair to her.
Why don't you do it?
I'd rather not. You? Oh. Shoot. Shoot.
Oh! I don't know how to start. Madam, that is several of us.
Gentlemen, I am bound to listen to you, but it is right to tell you that not knowing I was married in infancy, I am over head and ears in love with somebody else.
Our case exactly. We are over head and ears in love with someone else. In point of fact, with our wives.
Your wives? Then you're married.
It's not our fault. We knew nothing about it. We're sisters in misfortune.
My good girls, I don't blame you. Only before we go any further, we must really arrive at some satisfactory arrangement, or we shall get hopelessly complicated.
Here is a case unprecedented. Here is a king and queen of stone. And this is marriage is first inventing. Never was known a case so hard. I may be said to have been bisected by a profound catastrophe.
Global calamity, one is nature, I am divisible into three.
I may be said to have been bisected.
I am divisible into three. Through calamity, I am divisible into three.
More of this all, how can you come there to stay?
dignity, to the